Hello and welcome back to Calradia Expanded at War, and we are here at Varcheg. Okay, so obviously in the last episode, at the very end, we had a situation where Varcheg rebelled against us, and as a result, well, my garrison that I had obviously automatically recruited thanks to improved garrison, they are now enemies of ours, and we have to deal with them. And, well, Aldrich actually was a person that I thought we could rely on to potentially take it back for the Vlandians, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be the case. He seems to have given up, or he seems to have been driven away, or something along those lines. Now, I have returned here after, of course, recruiting a bunch of people, getting ready for any potential attack that we could pursue against the Northern Empire, because of course we are still at war against those fellows, and it would be really nice if we could indeed take this. However, as I say, Aldrich was driven away. Not entirely sure how that happened, because I swung back here, and the enemies are not that strong here. They are not that strong at all. They are kind of underwhelming, to be honest. I think most of them are militia, and if they are somewhat difficult to deal with, then I don't think that that is anything to do with our army being bad or anything, or they're being particularly good. I think it is literally just because they are the defense and we are the offense, and that's pretty much it. That's the only thing that's really going to make any kind of difference whatsoever. We are losing a couple of people in the process here, but that shouldn't be too big a deal. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get a couple of kills here as well, because obviously getting a couple of kills is definitely going to make a good difference to our athletic skill. I could always use that. Thank you. There we are. Nice. We actually avoided taking some damage. Can you believe that? Yes. It's almost unheard of for me to take 0 damage in these sieges nowadays for some reason. Not entirely sure what's going on with that, but anyway, let me see if I can maybe do some extra damage here by getting a bit more extra space. This guy is obviously doing a little bit of damage with his wonderful ballista. Hello there. Ah yes, someone actually did recommend maybe making a mace, because a mace is very fast. And indeed, yes, I agree. Yeah, if I wanted to go for something that was really fast and had some great amount of handling and everything, then that would obviously be a pretty good option. But it seems like, I mean, you can see here we're doing pretty well, right? I feel like I'm doing quite nicely here. Maybe I've gotten a bit more used to fighting with one-handed, and it definitely is making a big difference to how many kills we're able to get. And obviously we are up against militia. I mean, obviously militia are obviously really not very good, and in general they are going to be quite easy for us to deal with. So I should be able to deal with them without too many problems. Now, bear in mind, this is the full complement in terms of the garrison that my mod put in there. And I was thinking to myself, so wait a minute, this is enough? You know what I mean? This is enough for enemy armies to literally think to themselves, oh yes, I will not pursue this particular, you know, siege target any further. And I thought to myself, what, really? That sounds kind of weird, because to me, this seems like an extremely easy siege to complete, especially considering Aldrich, I don't know whether you remember the size of his army, but I think he had about 600 and something, I don't know, 650 or something like that. And you can see here, look at this, we lost a grand total of 10 units, which I gotta say, that is really... that's pretty good. That's a good ratio. That is a very, very good ratio to have. I'm just going to send the rest in right there. We'll take all of the... well, actually, does it even matter about taking all the prisoners, to be honest? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, we'll take a couple of troops as well, just to put them in the garrison. And, oh, yeah. So, okay. A bunch of people have been saying to me, why aren't you using the filters at the top of the screen here on the looting screen? Okay, so here's the thing. I am generally lazy. That's it. Okay, that is the only reason why I don't do that. Anyway, what is it now? Is it's armor, right? Yeah, it's armor. Okay, so generally what I can do is I can just take all of this, right? I could take all this, and there we are, and that's it. Are there no horses here? No, that's apparently it. Okay, so then we can split the 17,000 experience, and that is all very well and good. And there you go. So yeah. Generally, the only reason why I don't go through all of the filters and things like that is because I generally don't think it's going to make that big a difference. If I can get a capped out amount of experience at any one point, then I'm going to think to myself, wow, this is fantastic. I love this. You know, I love being able to get, you know, I don't know, 60,000 experience at any one time just by leaving some pieces of armor in the inventory and donating those to my forces. Now, that's generally what I'm going to be looking for, those kinds of things. If there is a suitable amount of experience, like I'm talking, I don't know, 5,000 or even 8,000, 9,000 or so, I'm going to think to myself, is this worth it? Is it worth it for me to actually go through all of this just for, you know, just for that small amount of experience that I could very easily get just by going into an auto-resolve battle against a minor-ish vassal and just defeating them really, really fast. That's basically the alternative. And then I just think, well, yeah, that's probably the way to go. That is much easier, much quicker, and it requires me not to do as many clicks. And it is just more efficient, in my opinion. But obviously, that's just my opinion. Maybe you don't agree, and that's absolutely fine. You know, you can play however you want, and, you know, same thing for me. But generally, that's the reason why I don't use the filters most of the time. For example, if I mention, hey, I didn't know about this or whatever, that's me actually not knowing. You know, that's me not actually knowing about it. Because there have been moments where I thought to myself, oh yeah, that's true. Why didn't I do this? And someone mentioned that to me in the comments, and I'm always like, wow, yeah, that is an excellent point. But in this case, it is literally just due to me not wanting to, you know, sift through all of that stuff. Anyway, I'm actually going to go for 350 units in the garrison here this time around. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 350, and we're going to make them tier 3 maximum, so not even tier 4s or anything like that. I mean, that's the thing. I don't even need to train them if I don't want to. So generally, I could just have my recruiters bring them in and just randomly chuck whatever in there. And maybe that's a better idea. Because if they do go for a rebellion again, which is, I would say, probably unlikely at this point, because I don't know whether you noticed, but the loyalty of these people has gone skyrocketing up now, as you can quite clearly tell. And they have 94. I mean, that's probably because they had 94 due to the, due to the rebels. That's the, I think that's probably the reason. It's not actually because they like us. It is literally just because they liked the rebels taking over the town. And that's just a remnant of that. But, yes, oh well, never mind. We were able to take it back, which is pretty good. Now, here's the thing. I'm wondering whether I should do a little bit of trade. And I'm talking about barter here. So I'm thinking, do I want to do this where I literally go to someone, like, for example, I'm looking here on the map and I'm thinking to myself, who can I speak to here that will make sense? Like, for example, okay, let's have a look at Diathma, okay? Let's have a look at Diathma. This is obviously not a very good idea. Oh, it's actually the leader, never mind. Okay, fine. Let's do someone from the Botanians then. So what about Kerbanseth? Melodia. Alright, he loves us, as you can quite clearly tell. He has 71 relation with us. So let's see what happens if I decide, hey, you know what? I'm gonna trade you Varcheg for Kerbanseth, which is right there. And who owns Glintor Castle, by the way, as well? Melodia too. Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, this is a really, really good opportunity for us. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. So I have a proposal that may benefit us both, sir. Give me both of these, and I will give you two of my own. I will give you Zemyan Castle, and I will give you Varcheg. Apparently he's not happy with that. Okay, so what about if I give you another castle? Wow, that castle really did not do much for me, did it? Okay, yeah, that's pretty awful. Another town. Could give him 2 towns. Okay, so now here's the thing. If I do this, it is going to be very easy if the Botanians declare war against us, or if we declare, war against them. It's going to be extremely simple for me to take these fiefs back, and then I'll be able to claim them almost instantaneously, and then I will have gained territory like this super, super simply. So I'm wondering whether it's worth it. Is it? Because this might be a way that we do our territory acquisition going forward. A little bit, at least. It might make sense. Okay, let me just see here. How much do you want? 100? 1,000? 10,000? 100? 100,000? No, he doesn't want 100,000. What about 25,000? What, really? 50,000? What? Are you serious, sir? You want 75,000? Okay, what about 60,000? No, he doesn't want that. What about 65,000? No? Okay, 70,000? Okay, you literally want 75,000. Okay, apparently he wants 75,000. So so basically I'm going to be trading him Varcheg, Kurstad, and Zemyan Castle for Kerbanseth and Glintor Castle, but we're also giving him 75,000. I'm going to do this. All right, this may seem like a crazy, crazy thing for me to do, because you may think, oh, look at this. Look at what's happened now. Look at this. They own all of this, right? Yeah, very true. However, look at this. 9%. Oh, dear. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to deal with it for the moment, eh? We'll just have to deal with it. But don't worry, okay? Because here's the thing: these fiefs are gonna be very, very easy for us to take as soon as Britannia declares war against us, or as soon as we gain some kind of. Actually, you know what? I could probably cause war against them myself. Should we try to do that? I could actually do that. I think I might try to attack, for example, these guys. Let's try attacking Mr. Fennigan here. Can I do that? No, I cannot do that. As you can quite clearly tell, it says, "Forgive me, sir, I don't know what I was thinking," and so on and so forth. So that's obviously kind of irritating. I don't know why they have made that a thing where you can't just do basically whatever you want to do in an open world game, but oh well, you know, it's I guess you have to follow some rules and here and there and so on. Oh yeah, I actually need some food, don't I? So let's just stop off at Epicrotia real quick, and we have this fellow who is going to be part of our party once again. I should probably be making him into a caravan person as well. Oh. That was not what I wanted to do. Disband. Thank you. Okay. Where are you, sir? There you are. Can you... No, where are you going? Okay, there we go. Okay. Whew. Okay, so he is in here now, I assume, right? Okay. Whew. I have no idea why I made that error. That was... where's he gone now? Are you serious? Okay, yes. Let's be a little bit more careful then. I actually thought that they would not ask me to select from the list with such few clicks, but okay. Never mind, never mind. Okay, so he's going to go around and do that stuff. There's the surgeon, so we can take him back in again. Okay, fantastic. All right. No harm done, apart from losing a little bit of money, which is really not that big a deal, I suppose. Anyway, let's go to the trade screen. Let's have a look. Ooh, nice. Okay, a lot of stuff right here. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Give me all of this. Thank you very much. And then I will take all of the butter, dates, cheese, olives, beer, meat, grapes, and so on and so forth. There we go. Okay, fantastic. Now we have a decent amount, and let's go on over to Rissos Castle. I would like to be able to do a trade for Epicrotia as well. So if we could do that, that would be fantastic. So it is just shall we say, a bit of a patience game at this point now, because we just have to kind of wait a little bit and see what happens. Now, obviously, Kerbanseth is ours now, as well as Glintor Castle, which is actually pretty good, because if you take a look at where Sargeth is, and you take a look at where Swenrin Castle is and everything, they are all of ours as well, which is kind of making sense. So hopefully I'll be able to take that back once the Britannians decide to go for a bit more aggression, which is no doubt inevitable. It will happen, it will happen, it is just a matter of time. Alright, let's do this. You know, I gotta say, I actually really miss the high walls of the Empire. The high walls of the Empire are just so fun to go up, especially when you're using siege ladders. I mean, literally, just look at how easy it is for us to get in here. Obviously, if you equate easiness with fun, then obviously this is certainly the kind of siege you want to do. especially against the Empire. But if you want to, well, if you want to take some from the Battanians, for example, the Battanians are probably my least favorite siege layouts in the game. They are very difficult to work with, and I'm going to jump down here and almost break my legs. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, but anyway, the Battanians have a rather unfortunate side effect with their castles, where the walls are just so short that the ladders are in really awkward positions, and it really makes things very, very difficult and a bit janky sometimes as well. And as a result of that, you are kind of unable to really do much. You can construct the siege ladders, obviously, or, well, in this case, you're not constructing anything, so to speak, but, you know, you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Anyway, the point is, those really make it extremely difficult to take things from the Battanians. And that's also the reason why I would personally say that if you are wanting a somewhat defensive faction in sieges, the Battanians are probably the way to go. They always have a really, at least I personally think so, a lot of difficulty losing territory. And I mean to say, they're very resilient. I mean to say that. Anyway, we lost 11 units right there, which is not too bad. And we can just send in the rest right there. Alright, so otherwise, apart from this, we are very close by to Epicrotia, so I'll just take a bunch of this. And now this is exactly my point. If you see here, 4,400 experience. I don't care about 4,400 experience. I'd rather have the cash from this. I will be claiming the castle as well. And I don't know whether I want to do anything here. I mean, I suppose we will. Okay, let's have a look at Resource Castle real quick. Let's put 250, and I'm not going to train them, or should I? Fine, let's train them. Let's train them. I got guilted into it by my conscience because I'm like, we need to make sure that they're all safe. Yes, need to make sure that they're all safe and protected by, well, anyone, because bandits are no doubt going to try and steal from the castle and so on and so forth. You know, from a roleplay perspective, you could think of it like that. Anyway, let's try and just make sure that they're safe. Anyway, Aldrich. Aldrich is attempting to take Potamus Castle, which is very nice to see. And I think we're actually going to try and move on to Diathma in just a second. But yeah, if you take a look here, you see my little section of territory right here, Cairban Seth, Sargeth, and all that stuff, very, very close by to each other, which I very much appreciate. And that is also the reason why I'm thinking maybe we'll do some more trades later on down the line. So maybe Resource Castle, for example, which is what I just took, maybe that's going to be something that will be very useful for us. Anyway, look at this. I'm literally selling all of the loot that I picked up for 96,000. Oh, we're going to need it. Oh yes, we're going to need all that cash. And let's just take a quick look. Who owns Dunglanis? Just as a matter of curiosity. Urgion. He has 43 relation with us. Okay, let's try and speak to him and see what we can do. Because I'm thinking to myself, is there Balgard? I can trade him Balgard. What about it? Do you think I should trade him Balgard? I think that sounds like a good idea. Because here's the thing. They are going to very much enjoy having territory that is connected to each other. And obviously Balgard is pretty far away from, well, anything that we currently have. What about Epicrotia? Who owns that? Vashorki owns that, as we know. He has 67 relation with me. I'm going to try and see who is willing to give me the best deal. So Vashorki, let's have a look and speak to him first, because I'd like to have Epicrotia if at all possible. I would much prefer to have that than I would prefer to have Balgard. So let's see how it goes. So let's do this. Epicrotia and Balgard. Not bad. Let's give him Resource Castle as well, and it seems like he is pleased about that. Bear in mind that this is actually not a bad trade for me to make, because obviously Vashorki is a part of our faction, so we're not actually losing anything as a result of me doing this. Okay, he wants much more than that. How much does he actually want? 29,000. Okay, he wants 29,000. That's perfectly fine. Let's swap it. I'm happy with this. This is in my opinion, this is a good trade. I like this a lot, because that means that if you take a look here, now, just look at these these fiefs right here. Foreign Castle, Firth Castle, Tackle Castle, Kulstad, Varcheg, and Zemyan Castle. All of these used to be ours that we traded away. Now, bear in mind that if you take a look at the banners, you'll see that every single one of my banners is spread in and amongst all of those that I just mentioned. That means whenever the Battanians decide for any kind of aggression, we have an extremely good makeup of fiefs, and our territory is going to be even stronger as a result. At least that's what I'm going to try to do, and we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's take a look here and see what Urgion actually wants for this. Right, he wants Sargeth, as you can quite clearly tell. Okay, so for Dunglanis, he wants Sargeth. What about No, okay, he literally wants every single thing in the world. Okay, well, what about if I give him Omor? No, Omor is not going to work. Cairban Seth is not going to work. Well, we obviously just got that, so it's highly unlikely. Releasing the prisoner doesn't really do much. What about Epicrotia itself? No, apparently he values Dunglanis quite a bit. So it seems like I will be unable to persuade him to give me that. But what about Aster Castle? I might be able to get Aster Castle for not too much cost. And I don't believe I've seen Aster Castle actually being attacked in any way. So this might very well be a good thing to go for. Okay, let's have a look here. Jernborg. No. No, this is not good either. What about Glentor Castle? This is... Nah. We can't go for this either. Okay. Sorry, Urgion. We are not going to be able to make any deals with you at the moment. Because here's the thing. We own Sionen, and I really don't want to give up Glentor Castle because it connects Sionen and Cairban Seth together. Kind of adds a little bit more security in the area. Generally, I don't want to see that that sort of trade route become any weaker at this point, now that we've done some pretty nice maneuvering, in my opinion. And I'm going to keep a good eye on the diplomacy screen as well, because the Battanians, even though we only have an 8% support at the moment, you can best bet as soon as we have, shall we say, either become exhausted or force the enemy to exhaust themselves, in the case of the Northern Empire, you can best bet we are probably going to be declaring war against them. Because it really makes no sense for us to declare war against anyone else with the, well, maybe the exception of the Western Empire. Because Sturgio has nothing as well. And Britannia has the highest percentage at the moment at 5%. I say 5% like it's the highest percentage in the world. No. Anyway, yes, 5% is apparently what they potentially have with the support. Okay, yeah, that's not particularly good, is it? No. Anyway, let's take a look here. Just going to level up some forces real fast, and we're going to just take a quick look. Oh, yes, I have leveled up a whole bunch. So we really do need to do something about this. I'm going to be leveling up smithing, finally. This is something that I've been meaning to do over the past couple of episodes, but I've always put it off for some reason or another. Anyway, let's take a look at our athletics perks here. We have energetic. Your party suffers 20% less speed penalty for being overburdened. This is very good if you are a trader, of course, but generally, I'm never really going to be overburdened. Wow, this is actually a what? I had no idea that this was actually a thing. But increase your endurance attribute by 1. Yeah. This is fantastic. For a 175 skill level perk, this is actually blowing my mind right now, because other ways to increase your attributes are found very later on in other perk trees. So this is really nice. And the secondary effect is also great. Governed settlement gains 1 loyalty per day. Okay, so now here's the thing that some people have to realize. I've seen some comments recently where people have been saying, I think on older series actually, maybe on like Berserker or something like that, I think, where they were talking about how the player character is technically not the governor of fiefs. Okay, so there's been a lot of discussion about this in the past, and I think that this has been disproven in the previous series, in the later episodes at least, because there was one point where I was rushing around trying to find companions that were, that were the same culture as the fief that I had just captured. because I wanted to try and rectify the loyalty situation there. However, once I instituted, as the as the leader of my own faction, once I instituted a bunch of policies that gave me loyalty for governors and towns and so on, it all rectified itself without any problems whatsoever. So I think personally, this is how it works. The player character by default is the governor of every single fief that they own, unless they institute another NPC to take over for them. So for example, if you take a companion and put them in there, then obviously they're the governor. But until that time, the player character is the governor. That's how I've understood it. If I'm incorrect, then, well, then I'm incorrect. But I don't think I am. I think that is how it works. Anyway, we're going to be taking healthy citizens. The endurance is just too good. It's really just too good. And let's have a look here. What's this? Halves the speed penalty for herding. Oh, that's actually fantastic. And also animals in your inventory have a very low chance to reproduce. Yeah, I think we're going to take that one because animals in your inventory have a very low chance to reproduce. I believe that I was actually able to get a massive amount of horses that way. I could be wrong about that, but I think I was able to get a huge amount of them, and as a result I was able to very quickly run around almost everywhere. So it really made a huge difference. Anyway, let's take a look at the Steward skill. Discarded weapons. Aha, here we go. So here's the discarded weapons thing. This is really good too. I will be taking it, and one-handed has also leveled up. Your one-handed melee attacks ignore 10% of the enemy's armor. Useless in my opinion, and you deal 50% more damage with one-handed weapons against shields. And increase your party limit by 15. In my opinion, this is much better. So I will be taking that. Now, we also have an attribute point. Now you may be thinking, oh, well, you should probably max out endurance, right? Well, yeah, technically yes. I have 9 in endurance now, it just hasn't shown up yet. But there is another perk that I can take, which is called Enduring Smith, which I need 225 in smithing to be able to get, and that's going to give me another 1 point in endurance, which will max out my stat at 10, which is exactly where we want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm probably going to increase either Vigor or Control at this point, because as it stands right here, I'm thinking leadership is probably not going to be that useful for me right now. Leadership doesn't seem to do much except increase your garrison size, your party size a little bit, with some of these perks that is. Your kills have a 100% higher effect on friendly troops' battle morale. In my opinion, that's very, very good. But everything else doesn't really inspire me too much. And even the end perk in the tree is not very special in my opinion. So I'm thinking we'll probably just go for Control. And I think we're probably going to look for a crossbow relatively soon. I mean, we are a Vlandian. It's probably going to be really easy to find a super powerful crossbow in one of the marketplaces back in our homeland. Anyway, let's do the siege at Diathma now and see what's going on there. We've powered ourselves up. We are ready to go in. And I should really do some smithing as soon as I can to try and level up my last point in endurance. That's really going to make a huge difference. And hopefully, now that we have more points in endurance, my athletic skill will finally start leveling itself up just that much quicker. Or at least I hope so. Anyway, we have 250 against the enemy's 511. It may very well be a rather problematic situation, he says, as the enemy sallies out to meet us. Okay, that's interesting. That has not happened since the Berserker series when I attacked a town of over 1,000 units, so this is kind of surprising to me. I would not have expected them to attack with only 600, but apparently they fancy their odds. They fancy their odds of being able to eliminate us here, so let's see what happens. 200 meters away, yards, whatever it is. Let's take a look and see what we can do here. Okay, now, obviously, as you know, I personally love fighting on the field. With this particular character, I love that. It is so fun to slash around with my wonderful, wonderful War Razor. It's just so carefree and amazing, and I mean, literally, look at that. It's just so nice and simple as well, because you can literally just run up to someone, slash at them, and then you do just so much damage. It's just really, really satisfying. But obviously, it's not so satisfying if you get poked in the face by a wonderfully large polearm which has happened multiple times, and we shall not speak of those times ever again until I next mention it, or until it next happens, which will probably be in about 10 seconds. Yes, indeed. Anyway, let's tell my forces to do some auto-delegate. Let's tell my archers to go over here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tell my archers to do an auto-delegate as well, and we're going to tell my infantry to move forward a little bit here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell them to charge in, because these are basically just militia. I think we should have a pretty easy time of things. Need to take out these higher tier units. Those are the only ones that can really deal damage to us. I don't see any enemy cavalry right now. They seem to have no cavalry. Very interesting. I would have expected them to have cavalry at least a little bit. But maybe they can't. Maybe if they sally out, they don't have any cavalry? Or they're not allowed to ride on horses if they sally out? Is that the case? I'm actually not entirely sure about that. Oh, no. They do have some cavalry, as you can see right here. Hello, sir. Would you mind... Oh, never mind. Apparently, yes, I was going to say, would you mind terribly just vacating this world by dying? Yes, indeed. That would have been fantastic for him to do that, but no, well, never mind. Is it just me, or do I seem really slow on my mount today? It feels to me like I'm moving really, really slowly. I don't know. Why is that? That's kind of strange, isn't it? Okay, well, whatever the case. Oh, nice damage. Right there. Very good. Ah, yes, we are having some difficulties. Alright, so, yeah, I think the main problem that I'm having right now is the fact that my archers were not actually in position, and they were just running back and forth due to the auto-delegate. The auto-delegate, in my opinion, is sometimes so incredibly bad that you really do need to keep an eye on things, because you can see here, now that I have made sure that my archers are actually doing something useful, they're actually doing a good amount of damage to me. Or should we say, yes, the enemy is doing a good amount of damage to me, but my archers are absolutely murdering the opponent. As you can see, look at this. Look at the amount of damage that they're doing right now. And if I had told them to just hold position rather than do an auto-delegate, I think we probably would have had a much easier time of achieving victory here. But instead, I made it much more difficult on myself by allowing the AI to take over the commands. And I don't know whether you noticed, but in the distance, you could just barely make out the fact that the crossbowmen were walking, or shall we say running, back and forth between 2 points. And they weren't actually fighting anything, because they were attempting to skirmish over and over again with the cavalry that were attempting to harass them, of course. That was the main problem. And so that was the reason why we were having some difficulties, I suppose. Anyway, now the big guns are coming out. Look at this, 36,000 experience, just purely for the fact that we are going to be able to donate a bunch of things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use the filters because, you know, we might as well, right? And let's just take a quick look. Are these actually counted as? Are these actually counted as weapons? They are. Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, let's just take the grain and everything else can go. There we go. 36,000 experience gained. Very nice to see that. Let's continue the siege. And I actually don't know what to do right now. Can I just go straight in? Can I do an auto-resolve and actually win this? Yes, okay. Phew. I was a bit worried about that for a second, because I thought to myself, if I don't destroy the walls, is it okay to do an auto-resolve? Because I thought, well, maybe if they're outside the walls, the AI is going to do something really, really silly, and then they're just going to all of a sudden fall over and die. I don't know. You know how it can be sometimes with the AI. Sometimes they're just kind of weird. Anyway, We have now taken ownership of Diathma, which I never thought was actually even possible at this point. I think generally we got pretty lucky with the layout right there as well. Anyway, let's tell our people to recruit 350. Let's train them up to tier 3, as we are now always doing, basically. Let's sell our prisoners. And I can manage the town a little bit. Oh, the loyalty's fantastic. Great. I'm happy to see that. It's going to go down very quickly. But I am happy to see that right now. Anyway, there's Diathma. And I have Epicrotia. Do I have Epicrotia? Yeah, yes, I do own Epicrotia. Yes, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, so we do own Epicrotia, which is great. Resource Castle is obviously not something we own, but it is part of our faction, which is, of course, something that's very good. Technically, I could buy Resource Castle from him if I wanted to, I suppose. Or maybe if I take another castle, like, for example, if I take Atrion Castle or something, then I might be able to trade with him again, which would be quite good. Anyway, we'll just continue doing a little bit of business with the ransoms and things like that. And let's take a look at the diplomacy screen real quick. 2%. Right. Who's going to be the most likely culprit? No one? No, apparently everyone is very, very happy with the current situation and who they're currently at war against. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.